Straight ahead on CCX News, a big back-to-school push.
It's the first time that we've ever done this.
A different way. One local company is trying to recruit school bus drivers. Plus, Brooklyn Park's version of the Batmobile, what this vehicle is used for and how the city paid for it. And later, a camping trip that only requires a relatively short drive. In backyard getaways, we bunk up at Baker Park. CCX News starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. The start of the new school year is only a month away now, and local school bus companies are in the middle of their big push to recruit new drivers.
There's a shortage of drivers due to several factors, including the intimidation that comes with getting behind the wheel of a big vehicle. But as Delane Cleveland reports, a local company is using a new recruiting technique to remove the intimidation factor.
In just a few short weeks, these big yellow buses will be a common sight along city streets. Who exactly will be driving these buses is another question.
Yes, right now it's our biggest push. It usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the entire training to get you qualified and certified to become a school bus driver.
Vanessa Morales is a recruiter for First Student. Between now and the start of the school year, she'd like to hire 200 new drivers.
This is ideal for, if you're retired or if you want to supplement your income.
Yet it's a recruiting push they have to make year after year.
There is a shortage in drivers.
One reason for that shortage is the intimidation factor of getting behind the wheel of a large vehicle. At several recruiting events this Saturday, First Student will try a new technique to ease the nerves of prospective drivers.
So Big Bus No Big Deal is essentially just to get any potential candidate to get a feel of what it's like to drive the bus. So we'll have trainers on site, we'll have a course set.
So just go ahead and sit down.
The goal is to give people a taste of what it's like
And make sure you get the seatbelt on.
to be behind the wheel.
And we have our start switch here, so foot on the brake.
A CCX News reporter with zero bus driving experience had the opportunity to drive around the First Student parking lot for a few minutes.
Go ahead, make your turn.
In the end, nobody died and no vehicles sustained any damage.
We're not going to take you out on the road yet.
The hope is that more people will go through the same experience on Saturday and eventually sign on to become permanent employees.
Because it's important to get our kids to school. It's important to have them be there on time.
In Champlin, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
Recruiting events are taking place at Park Center High School and at the First Student Office in New Hope on Saturday from 10 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. Prospective drivers have to be at least 21 years old with a valid driver's license. Wages start at around $16 an hour.
In Plymouth, a 4-vehicle crash Thursday afternoon killed an 86-year-old Golden Valley man and hospitalized 3 people. Police say a car was making a left turn when it crashed with another car on Highway 55 and Northwest Boulevard. 2 other vehicles that were stopped at the intersection were also hit. The passenger in the car making the turn was killed. The driver and 2 other passengers were injured, including a 15-year-old girl reported in grave condition. No names have been released. Police say 3 other people suffered non-life-threatening injuries.
A tall plume of smoke from a fire in Crystal could be seen more than a mile away. The fire broke out in a home on 53rd Avenue about noon on Friday. It was first reported by a Crystal City worker. It's believed nobody was at home at the time. The fire spread to the attic, and firefighters say it did significant damage. The cause of the fire is under investigation. There were no injuries reported.
About 30 times a year, Brooklyn Park Police have to use a very important piece of equipment to protect police officers and civilians. Since 2009, police had been using a 1980 model armored vehicle. It had become too expensive to repair, though. But today, finishing touches went on the brand new armored vehicle called the Bat. The bulletproof Bat carries 12 people and can be used to execute high-risk warrants or respond to dangerous situations. It stands ready to roll into duty as soon as needed.
Obviously, this is a very safe place to live, a great community to live, but the problem is when somebody chooses to make that decision or create a very dangerous situation for police officers, if we don't have the piece of equipment available, it's too late. We can't go suddenly buy one or find one.
The new vehicle costs $239,000, $139,000 of which is money seized from drug dealers. The bat will be used for a minimum of 20 years.
Meantime, the Plymouth Police Department is growing in number just as the city experiences a housing boom. The northwest part of Plymouth continues to grow with new housing developments that started popping up more than 5 years ago. Police realized through analysis that their 4 patrol districts would need to expand to 5 in order to offer timely coverage of the new area. The City Council approved $600,000 in funding to bring on 6 new officers over the course of 3 years. That started in 2016.
Citywide, our crime rate is very low, but in this part of the city, it's primarily single-family homes. It's very quiet, very bedroom-like, and that's great. But they still deserve great service, and we want to provide it.
By early next year, all 6 officers will be on the force. And here is an example of one of those new housing developments in Northwest Plymouth. A new subdivision called Beacon Ridge is proposed for nearly 15 acres of land next to the Plymouth Gun Club. The proposal calls for 37 homes. At the Plymouth Planning Commission meeting, neighborhood residents voiced concerns that removing trees for the development would allow noise from the range to sound louder. There's also a concern about traffic on Dunkirk Lane. The City Council is expected to take up the proposal in a few weeks.
The city of Maple Grove is taking a closer look at how their parks serve the community.
This is really looking at the greater picture, the bigger picture, a little bit more broad about, do we have enough basketball courts in the system? Do we have enough baseball fields in the system? Things like that. Do we have a nice trail network? Is it serving all the residents?
The city is a few months into a year-long Parks and Recreation System Plan update, which happens every 10 years. The city hopes to get community feedback on how residents use the park system, and they encourage residents to go online and take a survey or stop by one of their community engagement opportunities to give feedback. Another feedback tool is the Social Pinpoint app, where people can use their smartphone to participate.
People can use phone and they can be at a certain location in the system and put in comments. You know, this is good, you could do better here, things like that.
The city will ask for feedback once again in January, when parks officials will begin gathering input on a draft plan. Still ahead, why your next camping trip may be just a few miles away. That's next in Backyard Getaways.
Plus, former Champlain Park basketball star McKinley Wright fits right in against older players in a tough summer league.
But first, unplug the air conditioner. Temperatures in the mid-70s this weekend with low dew points. Well, you don't have to go too far away to find a good camping site.
There are spots right here in the Twin Cities metro area. In this week's edition of Backyard Getaways, Eric Nelson takes us to Baker Park Reserve in Medina.
Despite its close proximity to the sprawling Twin Cities,
only 10 minutes from Plymouth, so you can't beat that.
Baker Park Reserve has an up-north look and feel.
Build a campfire, enjoy the great outdoors, get away from the city life for a while.
Baker has plenty of camping options.
This cabin holds 6 people,
including 5 cabins that have become quite trendy.
Right now, these cabins book a year out. If you're looking to reserve something like this, start looking now for next year, because we're already filled for the summer.
These rustic cabins are the perfect blend. You feel like you are roughing it, but also have some creature comforts.
The cabin has bunk beds in there, a fan up on the top, lights. In the wintertime, it has a heater.
If sleeping under the stars in a tent is more your style, Baker has over 200 camping sites, and half of those have electric hookups.
It's not that far away, and the camping prices are super reasonable. You can't beat it for the price.
Baker Park is an outdoor playground. Boating, kayaking, paddleboarding, biking, and hiking are just some of the things that visitors can do here. They can also chill out at scenic Lake Independence. Or they can hit the links at nearby Baker National Golf Course.
It's family, good times with family, get-togethers, go down the beach. boating, water skiing.
We have so many trees around, you can see that it's a good balance of sunlight, trees, so they can come out and they feel like they're out in the wilderness for the weekend, getting away with their family and enjoying it.
Baker is the perfect staycation. Cheap and close to the Twin Cities metro, but it feels light years away.
You have over 200 sites, so you get to see a ton of people on the weekend and enjoying themselves and kind of taking a break away from the craziness of what life can be sometimes.
At Baker Park Reserve, I'm Eric Nelson, CCX News.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is.
Right around the corner. Just leave your cell phone in the car, and
That's
you
right.
could be up. It could be the same as being up north.
Yeah, I was just
Way
going to
up
say,
north.
almost from a world away in
Yes,
some ways.
absolutely.
Still to come, 2 local artists, 2 very different styles. We'll take a look at a new exhibit in Robbinsdale.
But first, local coaches and athletic directors get some ideas on how to transform the win at all costs mentality in sports. John Jacobson is in next.
I'm John Jacobson with sports. With a busy school year ahead, a group of activity directors and coaches met this week to try and help re-emphasize the education part of high school athletics. The Minnesota State High School League and the Inside Out Initiative partnered for this one-day event at US Bank Stadium. The idea is for those coaches and activity directors in attendance to bring some of the ideas presented back to their schools and ultimately to the student athletes.
The purpose of education-based athletics is really the human growth and development of kids and connecting them to caring adults. And as a culture, we've moved further and further away from that philosophy. We have an $8 billion youth sport industry now that influences our kids and our parents and families. So it's really about reclaiming the educational purpose of sport and making space in the culture for really transformative experiences for kids.
When you get here and you see how much this is needed in sports these days, that things can't be win at all costs and those kind of things, then it kind of helps you to try and build on what you believed in to begin with.
The seminar was part of the State High School League's Why We Play initiative, which is now in its 4th year. Sunny and pleasant weather greeted golfers Friday morning at the 25th annual Champions Tour event in the North Metro. Opening round today at the 3M Championship. 2-time 3M champion Bernard Langer playing very well coming into this year's tournament. He birdies 2 of the first 3 holes today. Champions Tour newcomer Steve Stricker of Madison, Wisconsin, making his first appearance in blank. Just misses on that birdie try on the first hole. He'll tap in for par. Scott Verplank lines up a par putt from 10 feet away on the 9th hole, and he sinks this. Verplank cards a 6 under par 66, takes the early clubhouse lead in the opening round. 2014 and 2015 3M winner Kenny Perry sizzles early. This birdie at number 1, one of the first 6 he has to begin this round. He goes 7 under on the front 9. Action continues out at the TPC Saturday and Sunday. Earlier this week, we showed you the story of a past Mr. Basketball winner from Park Center, Quentin Hooker, who's about to start his pro career in Europe. Today, Jay Wilcox catches up with the most recent Mr. Basketball winner as he begins his college career.
After a superb high school career at Champlin Park, McKinley Wright's showing he's ready for college ball. Wright's played well in the Twin Cities Pro-Am League against mostly older players, even holding his own in a matchup with Timberwolves guard Tyus Jones.
Yeah, it's good to challenge myself against a guy like that. Going to the game, we're obviously friends. We talk a lot off the court, but there's obviously going to be trash talk in a basketball game like this. So it was a lot of fun. He played good. I played pretty well myself. Could have finished a couple more shots, but it's all good. It was a good battle between us.
After first signing with Dayton and then switching to the University of Colorado after the Dayton coach left, Wright has spent part of the summer in Colorado, getting acclimated to college life and college basketball.
It's been really good, actually, down in Colorado. We've been doing summer workouts, and I had a summer class, so I got a feel for the campus and got to know a lot of people, got to know the city well, Boulder and Denver, so it was really fun. Getting along pretty well. We got a good team chemistry so far. Saturday we'll start practices before we head to Italy.
Minnesota's Mr. Basketball Award winner for 2017, McKinley Wright is eager to show that as good as he was in high school, his best basketball is still to come. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
Wright and his Colorado teammates will play 4 games during their 10-day trip to Italy. Reports out of Boulder say Wright was very impressive in the Buffalo summer drills and should be in the mix for playing time immediately. That's all for sports today. Alex and Mike, back to you.
All right, John, thanks a lot. Up next, a 2-man art show is set to debut in Robbinsdale.
Plus the artwork that could soon be seen above Golden Valley streets. We'll be right back. The city of Golden Valley is in the midst of its very first public arts project.
Its mission is to find 6 works of art to use for city street banners. A public arts panel chose these 6 works. All but one are photos. They were all done by Golden Valley residents. And over the next month, the public will have a chance to comment on what was chosen. The goal is to have the street banners ready to unveil at the Golden Valley Arts and Music Festival on Saturday, September 16th. Well, finally, a brand new art exhibit opens tonight that mixes 2 very different styles of art.
You'll find it at the Robin Gallery. Neil Persley has a sneak peek in this weekend's showcase.
Our work is different, quite a bit different. It's almost coming from 2 opposite polarities.
The Robin Gallery presents yet another outstanding show, this time comprised of 2 men doing very different styles of art.
You know, his work is totally non-objective, and mine is very realistic.
Mike Prue became intrigued with photorealism in the early 1980s and does some amazing work with a brush, capturing on canvas what he photographs in life.
You know, I spent a lot of time walking around downtown Minneapolis, taking pictures of the streets and the buildings and the windows and the skyways, and I'm kind of inspired by those shapes.
Mike's work is a marvel in detail and the complex beauty in the structures around us.
I would like to be able to show people how the abstract world is so beautiful, and for them to, you know, really pick up on that, you know. And you know, somebody might go walking down the street and say, wow, look at those windows, whereas they would never do that before.
Mike teamed up with Carl Johnson, a mixed media specialist who creates with and on almost any media using traditional materials and found objects. The question was, would the contrasting styles really work together?
I kind of wondered how it would happen, and I says, well, Carl, let's not divide the gallery in half and just hang my work on one half and yours on the other. I says, let's just mix it all up and see what happens, you know.
And what happened is a thoroughly entertaining show with a surprise around every corner. From the Robin Gallery in Robbinsdale, Neil Persley, CCX News.
And there is an artist reception tonight, Friday evening from 6 to 8. The exhibit will also be up through August 26th. For gallery hours and information, go to robingallery.org. And that is all the news for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Have a great weekend, everyone.